everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress of, a podcast about movies and TV shows and video games and lots of pop culture and nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today, and with me per usual is Brian.
Oh, no.
Hey, Brian.
Don't sound so sad about it. Hey, wait a second. I'm a person. I'm here. Sometimes we're the Fourtress of.
Yeah, sometimes, we still get it done, though. Me and Brian know how to hold the Fortress down. How you been, man?
I've been okay. Life has been life.
You surviving this heat wave?
Jesus Christ, I'm trying my best. It has been at least raining, like, what was it, yesterday? I think it rained? But you would think the weather would get better after the rain. Usually that cools things down. It's like, no.
A little bit.
Have another 100-degree day. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay, dope. Awesome.
Yeah. Thinking about putting a coat on at the end of this episode might not be the best idea.
Listen, I saw somebody wearing a hoodie the other day in a very hot weather, and I don't think that was okay. I don't think they're...
Oh, that sounds miserable. Oh, no. All right. Well, with that, speaking of not being safe, let's get into our first segment of the week.
News talk.
Warner Brothers Discovery now, since Discovery is now merged with them. Their new CEO and everyone there, they are seemingly cleaning house for this DC universe stuff. And the big thing that happened this week was the Batgirl movie that they've spent like $90 million on. That was nearly finished. They said, fuck it. It's canceled. We're not putting that shit out.
It's canned. It's done for.
Like, what?
No words.
Yeah. I mean, this was kind of a shock, I think, for a lot of people, mostly in the sense that that's $90 million. Granted, we've started to learn a little more that it's seeming like they're going to get a tax break from it and yada, yada, yada. And apparently no theatrical release, no HBO Max streaming. And apparently this is from the CEO, David Zaslav. He said, in quotes, the movie did not work, which, look, we don't know if this movie would have worked or not.
But what do you mean did not work? You know what I mean? Like, to the fact where you spent $90 million already, like, that means script was written. That means shots were shot. That's a sizable amount. Like, sets were built. That's a lot of movie to be made. You want to know how much the original Sonic the Hedgehog movie cost? $90 million to make the entire movie. The one that came out in 2020. So that means you spent an entire movie's worth of money before you realized that something wasn't working with this movie. And what was it working? A Latina actor being the main lead.
Right.
What felt so wrong that they were like, we can't do it.
I don't know. And like, look, it's kind of connecting with their whole cleaning house thing is what they're trying to do. And the CEO is talking about building a 10-year Marvel-esque plan. And I can see, because like, he came from Discovery, so he wasn't at Warner Brothers before. So him coming from Discovery and seeing, I'm assuming, just the shit show that Warner Brothers was when he got there, I could somewhat see if you're trying to just clean house, start over. But, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, you also then just greenlit Joker 2, which has nothing to do with this universe at all. So it's like, what exactly are you doing? Yeah.
If you're gonna clean house, wait until you actually, like, if you have a movie in almost post-production at this point. Like, when was this movie slated to come out? Next year, I assume.
I think so. Year? Yeah.
That's fine. That's only 1 year. Most things that are coming out Marvel wise aren't coming out till 2023, 2024 anyway. So like, you have time to start your little master plan you claim to be making. But
I don't know. I mean, look, here, this is the quote from him. We're not going to release any film before it's ready. We're not going to release a film to make a quarter. We're not going to release a film. The focus is going to be, how do we make each of these films in general as good as possible? But DC is something that we think we could make better, and we're focused on it now. So, look, it all has to do with money. But there's a tiny bit of part of me that's like, maybe he has a plan. Maybe he is trying to correct the course of this ship that's been sinking for such a long time. But at the same time, it is sad that the things that they've shown that they're canceling are the Latino woman Batgirl movie. And then potentially, there's another thing, is this other Latino-led Supergirl movie that was going to be a spinoff of The Flash. It's like, but you're going to keep going with Joker and probably the Batman 2 with Robert Pattinson, I would imagine. Like, I mean, that's up in the air, but they haven't said anything. But like, oh, it's just not a good look. It's not a great look.
It's looking a little rough. I mean, I don't know that it's a good idea to start with a 10-year plan at this point anyway, with just the overabundance of superhero movies that we have right now. I think now's the time to start trying to do something way different than what's happening right now, because people are getting rightfully tired of it. Like, I don't think
Mhm.
what we need right now is another Marvel universe trying to do its best to be everything and be tied in and have all these movies and TV shows and stuff right now. Of
Right.
all times, I think this is probably the worst time to get started on that. If you were going to try something, maybe if they did this 5 years ago, I would have been all for it. But now that's feeling like you might be setting yourself up for worse failure than you did in the beginning. I don't know, because I mean,
Right.
DC movies still make a ton of money. Yeah, they suck, but like,
Yeah, I don't think they're losing that like money for
right,
them, but
Venom was
I
dog
I
shit, but it still made $1 billion. Like,
I mean, yeah, they want a Marvel. They want people to actually enjoy their movies and see them not just because they feel like, "Oh, this is all we got." So we have to see this, I guess.
I don't know that I think that's a great business decision personally, but also I'm not the person that makes these kind of decisions in my life. So maybe I'm
Right.
wrong, and this will be amazing for them, and they'll make a huge new strides.
Yeah, I mean, if this all in the next 10 years we're not talking great about whatever universe they've connected together, it's like, well, was it worth it then to can that Batgirl movie? Because
We're gonna all look
yeah,
back 10 years ago and be like, man, if that
or
Batgirl movie
I mean,
came out in
like,
2023, could have saved the world.
but it is funny because the one of the directors also did posted a picture of Michael Keaton's Batman face to face with Leslie Grace's Batgirl, and I think that I wonder if they got the okay or if they were just like fuck it because like Warner Brothers is like I'm looking at Michael Keaton in a bat suit, and it's not on the big screen or even in a trailer. It's like some random picture floating online now, and it's like, oh, I think you just kind of stole the thunder of Michael Keaton in the bat suit again. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But it is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, rumors did have that Michael Keaton's role in that isn't even good. Like, it's not even worth
Oh,
the
really?
the cast of him to be in the Batman because he's not really a mentor. He doesn't really do
Right.
much, and he shows up in a very limited part of the movie. Is what sources were saying
Hmm.
from someone that was working closely on the film. And it's like,
Right.
maybe you guys were barking up the wrong tree with this one. Maybe y'all were fucking it up from the beginning to end. And it was kind of like
Maybe.
that Joker situation where you have the Jared Leto Joker being like the leading of everything to find out that he's not
Right.
actually in the movie.
Because it did
Like,
seem like they were trying to get Michael Keaton as like their Tony Stark, which
mhm.
cool, but also it's like Michael Keaton's like 65 years old, man. Like how long did you want him to be this Batman around? You know,
Bro's knees don't work like they used to.
right? We knew he was gonna be in the Flash movie coming up, which who knows if that's even coming out anymore. And then there was like a little thing coming around that apparently he was also filmed a scene for the Aquaman 2, which had to be removed because of the timing, the scene in it didn't make sense because it would have reflected what his role was in The Flash, because The Flash was supposed to come out before Aquaman.
Mhm.
So they're just all over the place. They're just all over the
They
place,
wanna make
man.
connective tissue, but they're doing it so haphazardly that it's just not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a need, man. I think it's fine to be different.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a thing. Like I would be like, obviously I think we would understand because like just like we're used to like multiverse and stuff like that. If they had like one universe that was like the Marvel connective tissue stuff, and then you have stuff like Joker and the Batman that are just like, one offs or
One-offs,
whatever,
right.
do their own thing. But I guess there's still people in the world that would find that confusing and they're worried about money wise type of thing. But it's just like just I don't know.
The universe would have been fine if they just didn't release Justice League as fast as they did. I think that was their biggest mistake in
Right.
trying to do what they were trying to do there. Because most people didn't even have
Mhm.
their own movie yet at the time that Justice League came out, and I think that fucked up a lot.
And like, yeah, like we were saying earlier, according to Rolling Stone, that Supergirl movie that was in development is probably not going to move forward either, just because that Supergirl is connected to this universe. She was going to be in the Flash movie, and like, yeah, they're just in total disarray, man. Oh, DC, what are you doing?
Gotta take some L's to get some W's, I guess. I don't know.
I guess. I mean, yeah, like if I mean, he has also said in the past that he wants to try to emphasize, and he's been upset with like what Warner Brothers did with the Superman character, which I can agree with. You kind of sidelined Superman and threw him away, and
Right.
then we're like, all right, we're done.
You
you
got
know,
one solo movie, Justice League, not really. And then after that,
right?
Superman, Batman, all of those are just really lame roles for him.
His second movie, his sequel to his solo movie, he got the second billing to Batman.
Right. Right, right, right.
I mean, and this also goes off the fact that apparently that the rumor going around for Comic Con was that Henry Cavill was going to show up as like the big finale for DC,
Mhm.
and like say that he's back as Superman, but apparently he got COVID filming The Witcher in the UK. so he
Mm.
couldn't come. That's the
Oh
rumor, at
no.
least. So,
Y'all could have got that man on video chat or something. And no, he would have had like the sniffles.
yeah. So I don't know, and like also like Warner Brothers is also like they're apparently gonna fuse HBO Max with Discovery Plus, and like a lot of HBO Max stuff is might be like shutting down as well, which is gonna be interesting. I don't know. I don't
To
know.
do what? Add
It's
well documentaries? What the fuck?
that's what I'm saying. Are we gonna add like more penguin shit? I don't know. Ugh. All right.
I guess they got to be in disarray in order to get back together for whatever they're gonna do. But this seems worse. This seems like a mess.
Yeah. This I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see in a couple years what the hell they're doing, and if that Flash movie ever the fuck comes out,
No way, no chance. That's the first one on the chopping block, I believe.
unless they go back and reshoot the Justice League style, go back and recast Flash and reshoot literally the whole fucking movie. I don't know. But yeah, this is all connected to DC. Yeah, they greenlit Joker 2, which is like, all right, so you're gonna cancel this Batgirl movie because you want a clean slate, but you're just greenlit Joker 2, which has nothing to do with the universe. So okay, whatever, DC.
But what it does have is two white people in it. One of those
Right,
white
I
people
know.
being Lady
Right.
Gaga.
Yeah, we don't know what role. Probably Harley. Like, let's face it, she's probably Harley Quinn. I do hope it's a musical. I hope those rumors are true. I hope it's a musical just to see these incels that love the first one to go see a
They have to
musical
go watch a
DC
musical.
movie.
I don't know, man. Nerds do like
Uh,
musicals as well, though. So maybe that's their jam as well.
yeah.
I don't know. They'll be weird about it though. Even if it's not, I think Lady Gaga would do fine no matter what. I'm not worried about her casting,
Yeah.
even though I know some people have some criticisms in regards to that
I'm
personally.
not crazy about her. Just like, I don't know. She's fine.
Did you have any fan picks of who you would have probably chosen, or like Harley Quinn specifically for this
Um,
universe of the story?
which of just the Joker movie?
Yeah.
I think she's weird enough, like Joaquin Phoenix, that I think she's actually kind of perfect for the role with
That's
him.
what I'm trying to think of. Like who else would I pick? That'd
I
be
don't think like Margot Robbie
mm,
would fit. I think she probably could do it, but I don't. It's just two different kind of universes. I feel
yeah.
where I think Lady Gaga is also that kind of actor where I think she's gonna fit in pretty well. But I don't know who else I would cast it as a Harley
She
at
got
this
those
point.
weird eyes, so it makes sense to me.
Right. I could see her as a psychiatrist turned crazy person
Yep,
type of
yep,
thing.
absolutely.
Yeah. She'll commit to the role. Yeah, so that's all the DC stuff. Couple quick things. Let's talk about apparently Pac-Man's getting a live action movie.
What the fuck, man?
Waka waka waka.
What is Pac-Man about? It's about eating dots and cherries. All you do eat dots, cherries, avoid ghosts. The ghost got stupid
I don't
names,
know.
Winky, Tinky, Linky, whatever. What does that have to do with anything that has what is that?
I hope the ghost killed Pac-Man's parents when he was a boy and he
It's
comes
gonna be some
get
shit like that. That's the thing that makes me so mad about it. Is it's gonna be some kind of weird reflection or some kind of I don't know biopic of Pac-Man's life that doesn't need. We're at this really
I
weird
don't know.
space of nostalgia being king, which I appreciated for a long time. 'Cause it did give us stuff like Detective Pikachu and Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Right.
Love that stuff's able to exist in the 2020s, but it's going overboard. It's too
Yeah.
much. We've had too much of this to the point where they're just trying to scrape any bottom of the barrel. Next, we're gonna have a Pong game, like a Pong movie. The fuck is it tennis? What is it? Like I don't know.
Right.
This one isn't selling me. The Mario movie's bad enough.
Right. I mean, yeah, this is according to the Hollywood Reporter. It's gonna have a producer from the Sonic movies, but I don't really care about that. I
Right,
needed to see them writers.
right.
And is it the first one? Is it the same producer from both of them? Like, yeah, I don't
That's what I say. One of those movies were
know.
distinctly better than the other.
Right. Is Chris Pratt gonna voice Pac-Man? I hope so.
Absolutely, 100%.
Uh,
This man has a chokehold on Hollywood right now.
yeah.
Someone owes him money of some sort. Something's happening here. He's gonna at least be one of the ghosts.
Right, right. All right. Next quick piece of news. Similar. Talking about Marvel, Chris Pratt. Giancarlo Esposito. Apparently, I'm trying to connect the dots here, Brian.
You're doing a great job. I'm very proud of you.
Apparently, he's been talking to Marvel. He's had conversations with them and about like what he could do with the universe. But he has thrown the thing that he wants to do is play Professor X, which I could totally see that.
Perfect casting. 10 out of 10. Do it.
Yeah, and it would be nice to see him be as calculated as he is in pretty much everything else he does, but as a good guy. That'd be kind of cool twist to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think him and Patrick Stewart are both really great actors that really commit to their roles in a way that's not seen by many actors these days. So I think it's really cool to see someone that'll be in that role again. I do know that they said that a lot of those actors still do have contracts, the Fox actors, for at least a couple more
Right.
years. Not that I think
Oh,
that anything will come out for a couple more years anyway from X-Men,
right.
when it comes down to
Yeah.
it. But that'd be cool to finally see him in a good person role while still being that cool, calculated character. He
Mhm.
deserves his Samuel L. Jackson moment, I believe, and just
Right.
being the old dude and everything.
Yeah, like, if he were cast, like, that would be a thing where it'd be a nice passing of the torch from Patrick Stewart to him, like, I would be okay with that.
Right. It's better than like Timothy Chalamet, which I'm sure
Oh
would be
god,
would be a
yeah.
hard second choice, if not Giancarlo.
Oh, no. Jesus. Yeah. So that's it. That is the news for the week, everyone. Brian, we've done it
A
again.
lot of superhero, a lot of scandal, just like this podcast.
Yeah. Who's the scandal? Who knows? Who knows?
What?
It changes every week. Brian, shall we now move on to our main topic of the week?
I mean, no one else is gonna do it, so we gotta.
Brian said nope. Cause we're trapped in another fortress. This fortress is it's pretty suspenseful. It's pretty tense.
Very Hollywood inspired.
Very Hollywood inspired. Very Jaws. It's because we're in the fortress of.
Nope.
It's a pretty damn good title, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Very, very artistically placed throughout the movie as well.
Yes.
Did love
Yeah.
that.
Nope. Yeah, listeners, because we're talking about Nope. This week, the new Jordan Peele movie, written and directed and produced by him. So before spoilers, real quick, I will say, coming out of this movie, entertainment wise, I really enjoyed it. I thought the tenseness throughout it was done so well. There's specific scenes where it's like I'm at the edge of my seat for a lot of this, and just like as the mystery kind of unraveled, it's like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. And by the end of it, I did enjoy the conversation because I saw this with Jackie. I did enjoy the conversations of what this meant, or and also like, oh, what is that? What about this? Yada yada yada. Because I also, I guess it depends. I like it when a movie gives me all the answers, but I also like it when it doesn't, and it lets me have conversations like we're probably about to have of what does this mean? What was the purpose of that? But other than that, like just on an entertainment level, I had fun with it. So yeah.
Nice. I'm over lukewarm, but less than blown away. Somewhere
Hmm.
in that space where I think it's a good movie. I think it's well written. Cinematography is amazing. Very well shot film.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think the suspense was one of the strongest parts of the movie when it came down to it. But a lot of it kind of left me. I don't know. I don't want to say disappointed because that's such a strong word. I feel like. But just in comparison
Right.
to Jordan Peele's like other two like mainline films that weren't like a remake or anything like that with Us and Get Out. This one just didn't feel like it hit the mark the same way. We talk about like
Hmm.
how things can offer conversation. I
Right.
personally like when there's a good mix of you having to figure things out yourself and then some of it being kind of handed to you, where it's like it's
Hmm.
not so difficult to the fact that you don't know what the fuck you've left with. And you need some
Right.
processing time, but then also like not so in your face, which I feel like a lot of people don't think this, but I think Get Out was very in your face, but maybe because that had a lot to do with the black experience
Me
personally.
and you have definitely agreed on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whereas a lot of people talked about how they enjoyed that one more than Us. I think Us did a little bit better job of making you think a little bit further than you might have needed to for
I
Get Out.
agree.
That being said, yeah, I do think it's a really good film. I mean, everyone's performances were amazing. We got my boy Keith David in there somehow. That was pretty dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, it was a good
I was
time.
nice. It's nice to see him.
Yeah, I give it probably like a solid like 7 out of 10. Like I think it's a decent watch and it's worth going to see, but I
Hmm.
don't know that it'll be one of my top Jordan Peele movies of all time by any means.
Right. I mean, yeah. I don't know where it lines up for me. I think kind of like you. Us is, in my opinion, I had more fun and enjoyed more than Get Out. I think it also, like we've had this conversation before, where I think the thing with Get Out for me, definitely overhyped. Like
Yes,
hype was
absolutely.
at its peak when I went to the theater to see it, and when I walked out, I really enjoyed it. But I think, and it might be a thing where it's like being non-white people, where it's like, yeah, this is like what?
Yes,
None of this was very surprising. You know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly. I think
And
that's
so
what
I think the hype was mostly a lot of white critics, and so you're like, oh shit, wait, this is what black people go through and stuff.
the answer is
So
just
it's
yes
like,
with a
oh,
period at the end. Like
right. So I think that might have been why it didn't live up as to the hype as much as I wished it had. But I still really enjoy that movie, and I think the
Mm,
performances and everything about it is great. But yeah, by the end of it, like all the answers are pretty much given to you and you kind of know everything. Whereas like with us, like you said, it leaves you with questions and it leaves you a little like, oh, is that who that person is type of thing. And I kind of enjoyed that aspect of it. And I also think Us, in my opinion, was scarier
For sure.
than Get Out was. But yeah, all right, so let's get into spoilers.
There's a monkey in this movie.
The very beginning of this movie.
That was something that happened. There's a killer monkey in this movie.
I was not expecting that whatsoever. If we're talking about things to cut, that whole subplot and
Yep,
Steven Yeun's character can be gone.
absolutely. That becomes one of my criticisms about this movie, or some of the things that I felt like would have made cool callbacks just were not touched again. And that was one of those things
Right.
where we're just kind of like, that didn't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, I like granted, it feels it's interesting and like I
Mhm.
want a separate movie just about that.
Right.
But putting the two of them together, like I see what he's trying to do. It just didn't really work
That's
all
my
that
thing. It
well.
just
You,
didn't
you
really
know.
work. And that's one of my issues. This movie is kind of long. I mean, it's 2 hours, 15 minutes. I guess that's normal movie now, which is the bane of my existence, how long movies are. One of my biggest issues with this movie was the pacing. And I know you didn't say you
Mm,
quite agreed with it. But I do
yeah.
have this superpower of ADHD where I can tell very apparently whether or not a movie has good pacing because I get very antsy in movie theaters. I'm not a big theater goer
Right.
because I'm the kind of person that my brain needs to be doing other things while also watching a movie. So I watch a movie best at home.
Hmm.
If a movie's really, really good, I will not notice the time at all because I'm fully stimulated. Brain getting the happy
Right.
juice. We're fucking killing it, bro. Um, if my mind starts wandering, that means something is too slow, and we need to get in the game there. Boy, howdy, that beginning is like Signs level of slow. Of like, damn, can we get to the part where we see the shit? Like, please,
Right.
God. So I think
Right.
if they had cut like a good maybe 15 minutes out of this movie, I think it would have felt a lot more tight
Which
for
would have
me
been all
personally.
of Steven Yeun stuff.
And
Yeah.
that might have been perfectly fine. As much as I love Steven Yeun, I think he's a great actor.
He's great in this.
And I
Yeah.
do think there was parts of it that were really cool. I don't want to skip too far
Hmm.
around, but like his kind of whole thing of having the carnivalesque, like, what do you call those shows that you have to pay like 50 cents at the fair for to see, like, the bearded lady and
Right.
stuff like that. It gave that kind of spectacle kind of thing.
Right. Back then they were called freak shows,
Yeah,
but
for
now
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
I don't think yeah, they don't really exist anymore.
Yeah, I don't think we should call them that anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that kind of whole thing that I thought that was an interesting aspect of it that could have been, like you said, maybe
Mhm.
could have been a completely separate movie and would have had very
Yeah.
interesting things to say. But putting it through the plot line where you also have an alien flick basically maybe felt
Mhm.
offside there.
Mostly because, like, there are some plot line to that I still don't know, and I still want answers to. Like, the whole thing with the floating shoe, like, I guess I guess, to that extent, like, we're kinda talking about it. He's been feeding this alien all the horses that, OJ's character has been selling him. Because
Hmm.
I guess one of the overall themes of this movie that you can pull, it's about spectacle, and it's about humans as a society nowadays, how we just can't not look at spectacle, even if it's horrific, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of what he's trying to say in this movie about society, I guess, is that. And so, yeah, Steven Yeun's character is literally selling spectacle with this alien and feeding horses to it and trying to get back into the world because he was a child prodigy star and now like no one gives a fuck who he is type of thing. So I get it. It just didn't really work 100%.
And that's the thing. I think it would have worked if it had time to like really grab its legs, but basically you saw the whole thing of like how, yeah, he was on like a popular sitcom that had the crazy monkey in it. That ended up, he was supposed to be like, oh, it's everyone's best friend, Mr. Monkey. I don't remember the character.
Gordy,
Gordy.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 which is based off of a real like actual accident that happened where there was like a monkey that was part. I don't think it was part of
Mhm.
a sitcom, but he's probably maybe a commercial or something, and he went crazy and like attacked a bunch of people.
Right.
Which that's cool. That's a cool little homage to that. So then he's just known as the kid that survived this crazy tragedy, and now he wants new
Mhm.
spectacle because of course, like, yeah, that was really bad, but it also made him a ton of money because people
Right.
love crazy shit. Like, that's
Yeah.
why all there's no bad PR when it comes to like just PR at all. When it comes to just seeing people do
Mm.
things like, I know we've talked about Ezra Miller a lot on this podcast because Ezra Miller's been doing a lot of crazy
Yeah.
shit lately. But the
Mhm.
thing is like if they weren't in legal trouble, they would probably only get more popular because they're a spectacle at this point. You want to see what crazy stuff that person will do next. Kanye West, great
Right.
example. Kanye West has never lost that album sale from being a nut job. Maybe I shouldn't use that.
Right,
That's
right.
disrespectful to use that kind of wording. But dude is
Yeah.
cracking.
Needs help, man.
And
Yeah,
that's the thing is we almost make fun of it and dehumanize the person instead of thinking about like the damn like Kanye West really going through it. So it's that kind of shit where it's like, yeah, this kid is probably traumatized Steven Yeun's character of being like on a set
Right.
and getting attacked, but also it's pretty fucking
And
cool.
nearly dying. Right, exactly. Yeah.
So in his trauma, he's just trying to relive that same situation almost.
I also think it's a little bit of like with that whole like floating shoe, like just being upright in like a almost magical sense. I think, and the fact that he almost got the chimp to do a fist bump with him and not murder him and devour him. I think Steven Yeun growing up through that trauma thought like maybe he was like supernatural and like maybe had and like I honestly think he thought he could tame this alien creature. And obviously, ultimately, he cannot, and he cost the lives of a lot of fucking people.
Not that many. They do live in the sticks, so it was like 40. You know, it's all good.
That's still a lot of people.
I mean, didn't exactly pack out the theaters. Let's be real.
Died in a horrific fucking way. Oh my god.
Do we know they 100% died? We saw them go through the inner tube thing, and then that was about it.
We saw that alien then vomit up guts and blood. I'm pretty sure they're all dead.
That's fair. I forgot about that part, and also forks and stuff. And
yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all dead. I did think it was interesting and like a horrific. That was probably the most horrific this movie got was that whole sequence, and then the vomiting. Like, but like throughout the whole movie, you hear this like weird screaming from the alien, and it's not until that moment that you realize it's the people that are still like in its intestines, still being slowly devoured, screaming for their lives, and it's like, oh god, this is terrible. Oh, it's so awful.
At first, it was like horse noises and stuff like that. And we're like, why is that horse noise?
Yeah.
What's going on here? And then the weird dropping of like, things that it can't digest, like change out of your pocket, your pants. If you had a fork and plate and shit like that you were eating dinner at, like all that stuff fell down. Ends up being what kills his father. You remember in the very beginning?
Oh, yeah,
he gets
David.
like fuck. He takes a nickel to
Keith David is killed by a nickel.
By a nickel, almost instantly. In like the first 10 minutes of the damn movie.
Yeah.
My Captain Anderson got killed in 10 minutes.
I was like, oh, yo, Keith David's in this movie? That's awesome. And then I'm like, oh, wow.
One of my favorite voice actors on this earth gets murdered instantly.
So messed up. That was one of the questions I did have leaving this was like, okay, so what did the monster eat that it then vomited up? Like, you never get that context of like beforehand, but like whatever. That's just I guess that might be a little bit of a nitpick. But yeah, and so you get introduced to his kids, OJ and M, which I love Keke Palmer, but man, she annoying as hell sometimes.
She managed to be an incredibly both her and the IT guy from like Fries managed to be two of the most annoying characters on earth by the end of this movie.
Oh, see, I liked Angel, the IT guy. I thought he was the closest to like the audience avatar of like, what the fuck is going on?
What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Y'all stop. I mean, even he gets into it a little bit. The spectacle catches him as well. But yeah, he was. Yeah. But also, he also had this rabid fascination with wanting to help really bad too.
He did.
We all want to be part of something, so I get it.
Well, also, like clearly he hates his job. Also, he's definitely going to be fired by the end of that. He's stealing so much shit from work.
But also, who the fuck goes to Fries? Like, let's be real.
Right. He's like never at work anymore. He's just taking the van and the shit and just going back to the ranch. And they're like, where the hell's Angel at? He's supposed to be here an hour ago.
Let's be real. That's the best thing that's ever happened to someone from Best Buy Geek Squad. Other than plugging in a PlayStation 5. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Fries employees, they also really wasted Barbara Fiera's character in this. She's been popular from Euphoria recently. She's a fairly new actor that's getting pretty big. So I expected to see her like I was a pretty sizable like character in this movie. Like, no, she has 2 lines.
She had like what, like 3 lines
to Angel asking, "Hey, man, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool to see her. I remember you. You're from that show that I like about drugs. And that was it.
So, and then going back to the 2 leads, I guess, OJ clearly is very shy and introverted. And I at first I was like, I wonder if that's like just like he still has trauma. Clearly he does still have trauma. But even in that opening scene when Keith David falls off the horse, he stood there staring at him for like a couple seconds too long. I was like, no, this kid's just, I
was wondering if like that was like someone, if Jordan Peele was trying to say something with that as a whole. Because I was like, this feels like a story about a dude on the spectrum.
It's possible. I don't know.
OJ seems like he's just a dude on the spectrum trying his best to exist in a life that is very much about human communication, which is a rough thing to
Right.
navigate. And you
Yeah.
can tell that it's very hard for him. He can't do it because Kiki Palmer, Emerald's character, is
She's the
so
mouth. Yeah.
opposite. Yes, she is the mouthiest person on earth. That's willing to, do a sales pitch every single time. And OJ's like the horses.
Right.
That's
He's
about
just
where that begins and ends.
Yeah,
He likes the horses.
basically.
I gotta work. There's work to be done. That's like his
Mhm.
thing that he says every single time. Work to be done.
Even
Gotta do
yeah,
work.
the most craziest shit could happen, and she's like, "Nah." Kiki Palmer could be like, "No, all right, I'm leaving. What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm staying. I got to work tomorrow."
Right.
It's like,
That's what makes
dude.
my take about like the autism thing as well. Is it's just like this thing of like needing that same kind of like structure no matter what. It's like, yeah, there's aliens on the
Mhm.
property that might eat us, but I got to go to work. It's like, nah,
Right.
man,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can skip a day, bro. We're gonna die.
Yeah. You saw Alien, dude. Yeah. Let's talk about the alien real quick. I will admit, Jackie called it in the movie before it happened that it's not a ship
Not a
and that it
spaceship.
is just one being. I was like, damn, good call. I kind of like that reveal though. I thought that was clever twist on the whole genre because obviously you get the little gimmick earlier where fucking Steven Yeun's kids are pranking OJ in the barn with like alien masks and trying to freak him out, which I thought that was pretty good.
Hmm.
He decks a kid right in the face though. He punches a kid square in the face. That one.
As he should. Fuck them kids.
The trespassers.
I would have too.
But yeah,
Yeah, I don't. I still don't know how I feel about the alien. I'm still trying to figure out what the alien was supposed to look like. I was like, is it supposed to be like like some kind of tarp from like a
I mean, it's like a butterfly. Like I guess when it morphs, when it evolves and spreads its wings, in a sense, it looks very angelic.
yeah? I was like, is it like a biblical sense of an angel? That's what I said, and everyone thought I was stupid when I said that.
No, I think that's absolutely purposeful, especially with the opening line of the literal biblical verse that opens this movie with the "I will cast abominable filth upon you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle." Yeah, absolutely. I think it's totally on purpose that it's supposed to look like a biblical angel in a
Yeah.
sense.
At first, it was very generic UFO, which I thought. That's why I thought, like you said, the reveal that it wasn't like an actual spaceship, but it was just a monster, a being in
Right.
itself. Because we always think, and I make a lot of fun of this. Whenever we show aliens, or like create an alien in media, we always make it super big-eyed or super disgusting and slimy. Like those are the two biggest
Right.
choices when it comes to aliens. Is either give them big ass
Mhm.
heads and make them look stupid, or make them like the grossest,
They're
nastiest
gross like
slime.
penises or
Right, right,
something.
right,
Yeah.
right. Like Alien versus Predator or something like that. And it's like, honestly, what if I assume intelligent life like us lives out there somewhere? What if they're cleaner than we
Right.
are? What if they look better than we do? You know what I mean? What if they look?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do they have to be some kind of weird ass tripedal, gross, slimy mucus monster? And
Right,
then this
right.
wasn't. This wasn't at all. It wasn't even. It didn't even have any features that we could recognize as
Mm-mm.
humanoid at all. Because
Yeah.
there's no eyes. It has a quote unquote mouth slash butt, kind of like an octopus, or like a
Right,
squid or
yeah, yeah.
something, where everything comes out of one hole that goes into that same hole, stuff like that. Yeah, and
Mhm.
then it became this weird thing where it like morphed into an angel. But I
Yeah,
was trying to
yeah.
figure out what like did that mean something more?
Uh, Going back to the whole spectacle theme of people constantly wanting to either be on camera or capturing something with the camera. At the end, and I did hear this from somebody else, so this is not an original thought, but I thought it was very interesting. The mouth at the end when it's like morphing in that square with the
It's like
green,
a shutter.
it looks like a camera lens. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting
And it kept
to
making
add
that
to
like
that.
shutter sound too. Whenever it would close his mouth and it would hit that like make that wind break, that sound barrier break, like
Right.
whoosh. That's what I was
Hmm.
thinking, kind of like an old school camera, like those old things that you have to put your head under the blanket
Your head.
to take the picture, and then it makes that like loud sound. That's what I was thinking, and I was like, is it maybe like a theater screen or something that's supposed to be based on? Like, what is it? But it's like, then I tried to do some research, and it's like no one was making that connection but me. So I was like, maybe I'm thinking too hard
Yeah.
into it. And that was one of those things where it's like the parts where I feel like should have been important to the allegories of this movie didn't feel so important to the allegories of this movie. And I think that Alien was kind of
Hmm.
one of them where I was just like, how am I overthinking this part? This seems like this should be one of the most important parts. Like as far as
Right. Right.
taking
Yeah.
something away from this movie.
Yeah. I do think he's gotten more and more ambiguous with each movie.
This movie's fucking cerebral. for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what made me nervous. I was like, I maybe think this one might be a little too cerebral for me.
Right.
I don't know about you, but when I left the theater, it was silent. There was not a clap. There was not a woo. Everyone just kind of got up and fucking left.
To be fair, the theater that I saw it in probably only had like 4 people,
Really?
so
Oh, I was in
it
a
was in the
packed
middle of the
theater.
day.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I saw it like
oh, okay,
opening night
wow,
in a packed theater, and I was expecting
okay,
like like people love Jordan Peele movies, so I was expecting people to be hyped. I don't
right,
know that the
right.
average person walked out of this movie knowing a damn thing about what happened outside of Steven Yin died. I think that was the only thing we
Right.
could all agree on.
Right, and I think that's why I think on a surface level, I still enjoyed it because I enjoyed the tension and the execution, and, like, I love a scene of making a plan and getting code names, like, that whole scene of them having the Monopoly pieces, I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes, we're making a plan."
Oh no, it does some great things with like that buddy copness that kind of goes through it and like stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like no, there's a lot of very moment to moment, really cool stuff that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I guess the other thing with the alien, by the end of the movie, I'm assuming it's dead. I think you're made to assume it
Right.
explodes, which I do think, it's funny that Steven Yeun gets a little bit of revenge by a giant balloon Steven Yeun is what kills it.
Gotcha, bitch. Which kind of a weak defeat, but I get it. How else would you kill a giant
Yeah.
alien without military equipment?
A giant alien that's like a floating jellyfish butterfly thing, you
Right.
know? Yeah. But I did think it was interesting because that the use of her using the well camera and having to put quarters in it and crank that shit, trying to get the photo. But then at the end, I was like, what does she actually have? I guess, and then I realized, I guess she has the only photo of it alive because now there's a giant corpse over there that anyone can get a picture of. A million photos of
You
that
know
are
the
there.
government's gonna take that to Area 51 ASAP. That shit
Right.
is getting
Yeah.
locked up. And even then, it's still like one of those things where like, yeah, it's a pretty clear picture, but what the fuck am I looking at? It looks like I
Yeah,
got
right.
Stephen Yun Tommy Boy smashed into another balloon animal and an amalgamation of balloon animal. That doesn't look like
R-
because that's not what you would think of an alien. So
Of
unless
an
like I've
yeah,
actually
exactly.
dissected pieces and like done research on this alien, I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
you sent me a picture of
Right. Of a
someone,
jellyfish.
someone getting stuck into two pieces of fabric together. Like I don't, sure, the Oprah shot.
Yeah, which I wasn't sure what he's saying with the Oprah shot there. I wasn't 100% sure. Is that a dig on
What one of the
Oprah?
big
Is
spectacle
that
things that ever happened on Oprah? I mean, Oprah did the like back in her like early career, she used to do the things with like, oh, here's 8 racists that we're gonna talk to, even though I'm a black woman. And it's like, okay.
right? I wonder if maybe that's what it is. Like, a lot of Oprah is spectacle, maybe.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember Oprah being like Jerry Springer level where she's talking about aliens and shit, but
yeah.
maybe I
I
missed those
don't.
episodes. I don't know. Now she usually just talks to people about
Right.
cooking.
I want to go back to the team real quick. What'd you think of Clint Eastwood, camera angry guy?
I don't really know how I feel about that character and what his purpose was supposed to be. It seemed like it was kind of like
Yeah.
a dichotomy between him and the rest of the crew of like, yeah, we're these ragtag group of people that want to make like our own DIY thing. And then he's like, I'm the cool director that does director stuff, and I know everything. And also, I'm a white man. I can get
Right.
the shot. And then he does all that weird shit where he, has the camera that doesn't take power and all that kind of stuff
Mm.
to still really not get the shot. I mean, I guess he gets the shot, but then he also dies trying to
He
get too
gets
much
it,
of the
but then he
shot.
gets eaten.
And that was the whole thing. And I can tell how that was supposed to be like a callback to like the whole thing where she was like, oh, my great great grandfather was the black dude riding the horse, but you'll never know his name because some white dude deleted the
Right.
names of all these people because they don't matter, even though he's probably the first actor to ever exist. And then they kind of had
Right.
that shot, the same shot where OJ is riding the horse, and that really big
Uh-huh.
wide
Oh,
shot.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then he's filming it, the white guy, of course, so he would be the one to get the credit, not
Mhm.
OJ. But then
Right.
it's like fuck it because he gets eaten. So I was like, never mind.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I guess, like, just for him, I guess him wanting to get quote unquote the impossible shot
Right.
that no one deserves or whatever. And I guess he got the shot, but like again, no one deserves it because it's
I
gone.
assume it was like satire on like like the Zack Snyders and the the Christopher Nolan's, like the really big
Mhm.
people that like are I'm the cinematographer that does the cinematography.
Right.
I'm the best of the best. I love seeing things that are supernatural, and it's like okay, maybe you're a little bit too
Yeah.
up your own
I don't
ass.
know.
Like I guess that's the whole like kind of thing. I don't know if that's what he was trying to
I
play
liked
on.
him once I liked him once he joined the team, but like, yeah, I was kind of left like, oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I was like, he's dead.
I don't know why they had to kill him. I don't know what effect that was supposed to have on the movie because I was just kind of like, oh,
Well, I guess the idea is if they don't kill him, then Keke Palmer doesn't have to run to this crank camera and try to get a photo at the last minute,
yeah,
you know?
fair. What just what happened? What's happening? Over there? I'm sorry. The light
Uh,
of God just came into your room and scared the shit out of me.
I forgot. Jackie's got a smart light
Oh,
plug, so they'll turn on at a certain time.
we're keeping this in. You got aliens in your own house.
Oh no, I'm next. Don't look
That's
at
what it looked like. That's why I was so scared.
it.
Going back to the whole thing about that guy dying and how that did kind of just set up for Keke Palmer's shot.
Did you like her Akira power slide?
Absolutely, and I love that so many people that probably have never even seen that movie still know that homage because it's so popular in media at this
Yeah.
point. That you always get the motorcycle slide. So I'm glad he got to put that in. I don't know if he's a big anime nerd, Jordan Peele, but he looks like a nerd. So
Right. I think he was. I don't know if I think it might have been canceled. I think he was set to either produce or direct the live action Akira movie.
that's
Maybe
hilarious.
since that is not happening, or I don't know. He was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it in this movie."
I hope
I'm a,
he doesn't do that, unless he wants to ruin his track record. He should probably not try to make
right.
an anime movie.
Yeah.
That shit was dope. I think I was the only one that yelled at the screen when that happened because I don't think anyone else knew what the fuck that was in my theater at least.
It was well done. It looked great.
Yeah,
Yeah. Between that and then the big one shot of the when the ship or the alien goes on its side next to the horse was probably two of my favorite shots in that whole movie. I was like,
yeah.
damn, that
Movie's
was
beautiful.
amazing.
They did some really great shots with some of that, especially like about that wide work stuff like that.
Yeah.
They did a lot of cool things with lighting, of like having really, really dark scenes and then just blaring your eyes out with the brightest scene you've ever seen before in your life right after.
Yeah.
Stuff like that that I always think is kind of interesting to do, especially in a movie theater. That's like a thing that you really
Right.
can't remake on DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah. Talking about the effects, I thought the effects of the monster were pretty flawless.
Yeah,
And then you have the opposite where I think the chimp effects, they're clearly using a lot of obscure things in the camera in front of it and not really showing it because it's not that
yeah,
great.
it looks pretty
It did
shit.
its job.
It reminded me of Sorry to Bother You, the CGI work in that movie, where it's kind of like,
Mm.
this looks more unsettling than it does cool. And it's like, I'm supposed to look a little unsettling, but it's like, it doesn't so much look unsettling because you want it to be unsettling, and more just because it's fucking ugly.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. It's not Planet of the Apes level of ape, you know. But again, I thought that scene was really tense and well done when it's not the opening, although the opening's creepy and off putting, but the actual when you see the full scene with Steven Yeun under the table and it's just dead silent and this chimp is just going back and
beating the
forth.
shit out of dead bodies.
One of the actors come down the stairs and he's trying to make a getaway and it's just like, oh, this is terrible. And then going straight to that fist bump and he gets shot in the head. I was like, oh, good
That was a
lord.
cool scene. That's the thing is,
That was like a good short film.
I wanted to see, yeah. Honestly, if they just put that the end credits or something to be for a movie that never came out, I would have been like, "Holy shit, what is this?"
Right.
Like,
Yeah, that was intense.
I really wanted to see that connection again. Like, I got the spectacle connection. I got how it's supposed to like drive Steven Yeun's character, but I just almost
Right.
wanted to see. I don't know, like maybe more flashbacks with it or something. Just more development to Steven Yeun's character.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he was a pretty, I won't say important supporting character, but he did drive a lot of the plot line with the whole horse thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like halfway through the movie, he's just gone, and it almost feels undeserved. I don't want to say undeserved, but like,
I was honestly shocked that he was dead and like actually just gone from the
yeah,
rest of the movie. I was like, oh, I thought he'd have
that's the end of that plot
a
line.
bigger
Yeah,
part.
that's the end of that plot line.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Like, because I think that was a part of the thing that was interesting in this movie of having multiple plot lines kind of like go at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, nope, Steven Yeun's just there so he can introduce you to this old dude that likes to make movies, and
Right.
that's it.
I guess he's also responsible for one of the worst deaths / lives for a person. And this is also something that just gets dropped off completely. And I was like, that's kind of dumb. Whereas he introduces, and I guess maybe this goes to him being again kind of a spectacle asshole where he's trying to just make a profit off of other people's misery. When he introduces the woman who's clearly survived the chimp attack, so she's kind of deformed. So she had that trauma, and then she gets eaten by a big alien because of him. Like she's like her life sucks, dude.
And now it's over.
I remember seeing her in the trailer, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what that's gonna be. And that's literally her only shot in the whole movie, and she's dead. I was like, oh, okay, weird.
What'd you think about the chapter naming device? With naming after all the horse names and stuff.
With the horses, I thought it was fine. I kind of would like to see it again. afterwards because I don't remember though. I know there's like Lucky, there's Jean Jacket, which is the alien they name at the end, and the one that gets eaten from Steven Yeun, whose name I can't remember. But I guess by the end, I don't know the purpose of it entirely, but I guess it's just like separating how they're like dealing with this horse during each part of the movie, and Jean Jacket obviously the finale, but
The one
yeah,
that couldn't be tamed. Yeah, I didn't feel as
right.
successful as I think I wanted it to be, nor was it
Hmm.
necessary.
Yeah, you could have cut that out and it wouldn't have changed anything.
Right? Like I get the artistic attempt that was made there, but I don't. I don't. We didn't have enough time with any horses for it to really need that. If that makes sense, I
The
guess.
only thing we know is Lucky is the luckiest horse in the world, and yeah, that's all we know.
Yeah, I think if maybe we had gotten like the same like feeling around the horses to be like, oh, well, we know that's the bad horse and that's the good horse, then maybe this would have felt. But it's just like, okay, we got told about a few horses, and now we're named whole chapters based on those, and that was it. And that was just another one of those things where just like I think I can see what you were trying there, but it just kind of felt like it fell a little flat for me personally, at least.
Right. Yeah. Same here. I just had a thought about Steven Yeun's character again, going to the whole theme
Uh-oh.
of not looking at stuff. I guess. I mean, this might be me like stretching a bit. I guess the whole don't look at that the alien and it won't try to kill you goes back to like humans spectacle looking at tragic stuff. I guess the reason why Steven Yeun's character survived as a child was because of that tablecloth. And so he wasn't technically looking the chimp directly in the eye, so which is why it didn't
Right.
attack him. So maybe there's something there. Maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever been like a zoo with the gorillas or whatnot, but they're told not to look at them directly. You're supposed to like turn your back and then
Right.
look at them from
Mhm.
behind, or they'll get aggressive, like that monkey did.
Right,
I
right.
don't know if chimps have the same issue, but I know gorillas at least do.
Right, because 'cause they're very territorial, much like the alien in the movie was. They established it's very territorial, so yeah.
Right. Which, and I can also think there's kind of an allegory there when it goes to like the thing of being watched. People don't like being
Mhm.
watched, but they like to watch other people go through bad stuff, but you wouldn't want it to happen to you yourself.
Right, yeah.
I guess there's something to make from that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I haven't made a super fleshed out thought about that, but it's just kind of one of those things.
I mean, it also goes to my next thing I was thinking about, the TMZ guy, which, man, seeing him fly off that bike was hilarious as hell.
Favorite part of the movie, 10 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah.
If anyone needed to fucking die, it was that guy.
Yeah. It goes back to the whole reflections and looking at something like because in the early in the movie with the whole the camera little reflector ball that sets the horse off at the in the studio. Um, I thought that was gonna come into play more, especially when you see the TMZ guy's motorcycle helmet. It's just a
Yeah,
big
super
mirror,
reflective,
and I
yeah.
was like, I thought maybe the monster wouldn't attack him because it was like looking at itself or something, but that never really came back into play. And I don't know what the purpose of it
I
was.
mean, so I guess it's one of those things about like the don't look at me thing again. Like who do you see most often reporting on shit that even like own family members haven't even heard yet? TMZ.
Right,
Like they're
right.
like the worst parts of paparazzi when they exist solely to
Mhm,
make your life of living hell because they're always up your shit.
right.
Which is exactly what this dude. He came out of nowhere and was like, I'm gonna get that shot no matter what. Stay the fuck out of my way while I get this shot.
Even in his dying words, he's like, "Get
Get
the
the camera.
shot." I was like, "Oh, right."
Yeah, so it's like things
Jesus.
like that. So I guess it's supposed to be that kind of thing. And I guess that's what that still don't look at me kind of feeling was supposed to be from the horse. Or the horse didn't like to be looked at when he saw himself through the
Mhm.
reflection. But yeah, I do think it. I think it's one of those things where it's like I think if they had tightened it up just a little bit, it would have been
Yeah.
enough to make that allegory that much more powerful. Like even if they've done like another
Mhm.
close in shot of like that helmet and maybe seeing like the monster through that reflection really like make it hit it home really hard where it's
Mm,
not so much that it's
right.
gonna like harm the movie where it's like damn they're just feeding us everything,
Right,
but I
yeah.
also think it's very powerful and like okay now that you set up this scene to show like that is what comparison is trying to make. And they did that with the horse running and the white guy taking the picture of the horse. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, yeah,
what you
yeah.
could do. Things like that where it's like I get that this is supposed to be a callback to this part right here because of that. Yeah, I think what happened here is that it was just got too it was too loose to feel like a proper connection for someone to make in their head watching this movie. And I think that happened a
Right.
lot where like there were connections there, but some of them were a little too loose to feel like the
It's
where you were going was
correct or
correct.
purposeful.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
or purposeful, I guess would be the best way about that. And that's kind of how the same thing like the alien felt, where it's like some of the things that happened with the alien was like it was a little too loose to feel purposeful. And I think that's why this
Mhm.
movie as a whole just didn't sell me as well because like I know it's gonna be one of those movies where people that don't feel like strongly about it, people are gonna say are just stupid.
Mhm.
It's a Kanye West joint basically. But it's like some things I do think just were a little weak. And I like you said, I think the
Yeah,
TMZ
that's
guy,
fair.
I get it, but it still
Yeah.
felt a little weak.
Like, you could also cut that TMZ guy out, and the movie probably would stay the same-ish
I
for the
see
most
nothing
part.
lost,
Yeah.
and barely
Yeah.
anything gained. And I think that's
Right.
not necessary. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good plot device if it's not
Right.
like not even a little bit necessary. Like I don't think it would solve anything. It was just kind of it almost was like a humor break of just having this dude be a piece of shit and then die
Right.
instantly. Like which
And
is
then
fine.
get
I mean,
eaten,
you can
yeah.
totally you can sell it like that, but you can tell that there was purposeful things done that because who the fuck wears a motorcycle helmet like that? I don't know anyone that has a fully reflective motorcycle helmet.
Does
Like
it have one eye? Like, what was going on with it? Yeah, I was so
dude looked like
confused.
he's from the future, which maybe that had something to do with it
Yeah.
too. Maybe that was a play as well. Man looked like he's a
I don't
time
know.
traveler. Uh,
Oh my god, could you imagine if they introduced time travel at the end of this movie? Oh man,
I would have
yeah.
walked out of the theater. That would have been a no for me. That's where you get too far.
I guess at least for me, I only have one note really left. Do you think OJ is alive at the end of this movie?
Yes.
Do you think that's yeah, he's good and Lucky is the luckiest horse and they survived?
Yes. I think so.
How the fuck did he survive?
How the fuck did they kill a whole monster alien advanced race with a balloon of Stephen Yang?
I guess that's a good point. Yeah, so I was happy to see that everyone survived. I guess minus all the white people. So yeah, it was a twist on the horror
I mean,
genre.
Stephen Yang's not white. That's not fair.
Oh yeah, good point. He is a person of color that did die. I guess all of our heroes of Angel and M and OJ all survived, and they're all people of color. So
Yeah, I think in a normal movie that wasn't directed by someone that probably thinks pretty heavily about those things, I'm pretty sure Angel would have died.
I was surprised he survived. To be honest, yeah,
I think he's surprised he survived as well by putting barbed wire on himself.
right. Which that was another thing. I guess the alien popped out of its ship form into the weird angel form because of the barbed wire. That was also kind of unclear as to why it
I'm
morphed.
telling you,
I was like, oh,
I like the idea of the alien so much. I don't like the alien because I just was left, and I mean it's very much fine to just not have all questions answered. I think some things are better that
right.
way. I think that's why Cloverfield is one of my favorite movies because they just don't go
Hmm.
deep into why some of these things exist. They just do,
Yeah.
which is fine. But there's just some things where it's like I know I should be connecting. At least that's how I felt through a lot of this movie. It's like I know I should be connecting this to something else, and I feel like I'm
Hmm.
just not. Why did we see
Yeah.
the inside? Why would we see what it looked like on the inside of the alien and watch them go through that weird like children's play place inner tube
To
the whole time? It's like what did that mean? Did it mean anything? Because all it did is look like shit.
yeah.
And I feel like it was supposed to purposefully look like shit, but was it
Right.
purposefully?
I don't know. That might just be, at least to me, that might have just been like a horror element of like, this looks kind of gross, and then you hear the screams. I don't know.
It
I don't
didn't
know.
even
I don't
look
know.
that gross. It looks like the
It did
thing
it.
it looks like when you go through a children's slide at the play
Yeah.
place.
If anything, it mostly just looked uncomfortable
Yeah.
than gross. Like there was nothing gory or anything about it. It just looked kind of unsettling. Them slowly being squished
Yeah.
alive. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe it's Jordan
Yeah.
Peele trying to fuck with us and be like, "You're just overthinking it." Like,
Right. Yeah. It very much could be. And that was my thought coming out of it. I was like, yeah, maybe it is just entertainment value type of thing. But I think because since Get Out and like Us and his movies having a lot of meaning hidden behind them, we can't help but try to find the meaning in his work at this point. So that's probably a gift and a curse that he's now given himself.
right. And I mean, I would love to see him maybe take a I don't want to say a back seat, but like maybe take it back a little bit, maybe not make it so cerebral and make it like I think if anyone can make a movie about black people and just black people in space. It could be campy as fuck. It
Right.
could be, Star Wars just lame as hell. And he could probably do that
Yeah.
without having it be super heavy thought. I think he's the kind of
Right.
director and writer that we need to be able to make that kind of stuff. Because I know he'll at least do a decent job at it.
Absolutely.
Which I
Yeah.
think that's his whole reason of getting his like directorial debut is to start putting black people in like normal ass roles, but people of color in normal ass roles that are normally been dominated in white spaces. Horror is dominated by
Exactly.
white spaces. Like
Right.
it's one of those
Yeah.
things. So
I mean, there's a reason why, like, the horror tropes of the token black eye and also the black guy dies in every horror movie. Like,
right.
there's a reason for that because that's how it's always been. And so, yeah, absolutely, him switching that up is great.
Right, exactly. So that's why I'm just kind of like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be but it almost felt the opposite this movie to me, where it felt too cerebral, where it's like, it doesn't have to be cerebral. It could definitely just be what the fuck it is. but it felt like he was trying even
Yeah.
harder than before. So
Right,
like, what?
right. That's fair. But yeah, I'm not mad about the time I spent watching it. I would still have people go watch it, even if just because I think it's still on the surface a good alien movie. I thought it's an
Sure.
inventive and new take on an alien genre movie.
It gives us a very like a Signs esque appeal to like being
Yeah,
that big movie of that time period. I think this movie could definitely and it's a think piece. I mean, it's doing exactly what it probably wants to do, and that's to get people to talk about it. I definitely, even though I wasn't incredibly jazzed by this movie, in comparison to his other ones, I I thought about it. Not many movies I've seen over the past couple of years I've thought about too heavily after leaving the movie theater, and this was one of the ones that
right. Yeah,
I sat on for a little bit, and I still think about. So that's powerful in
mm,
itself. I think that's worth noting. Like it's
yeah,
culturally important as a movie.
absolutely. That was great. Do you have any other last minute thoughts, Brian? Are you all set?
I think I'm all set. Kiki Palmer making a resurgence and still killing that shit.
Yeah, she's
I didn't like
great.
her character, but she sure did play the hell out of it. Like
She did. She did.
that, it
Yeah,
made a weird
yeah.
conversation about people just not knowing who the fuck Kiki Palmer is randomly. I don't know. Gen Z people are
Right.
stupid. Because they were comparing her to Zendaya.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Kiki
It's
Palmer's one of the
true.
most accomplished like black actors in the space. Like, what are you guys
I
talking about?
can't think of anything else she's really been in, but I know she's been in a lot of shit.
Homegirl had her own talk show for a little bit. Like Homegirl does her thing.
Yeah, she's making moves. Good for her though. Yeah, it's nice to see her
She's
in
also
something.
hilarious. I'd like to see her and
She
Angela
is.
Bassett in something together. She'd play a great little Angela Bassett.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. All right. That is Nope, everyone. Brian, shall we move on to our final segment of the week then?
Let's forking do it.
Which we like to call free for all, title pending. This is a segment, listeners, where we can kind of do whatever we want. We can recommend something, we can talk about our day, talk about life, rant, take a nap. It's free for all. I can quickly go first. I have started the third season of Harley Quinn on HBO Max. It released last week. They released the first 3 episodes, and the fourth episode come out this past week. I still love this show. I really enjoy the writing and the comedy, and I think Kaylee Cuoco is actually a pretty good voice actor for Harley Quinn. I think all the voice actors are so good in it. Her, Lake Bell's Poison Ivy. It's all just very good and very funny, and I like that they're each like half-hour shows. It's almost like a spiritual successor to that Batman animated series. It's done
Mm,
by the creators of that as well, but it's
oh, nice.
definitely way more adult as well.
Yes. I only know of one clip that has made me want to watch the show, and it's about the cancer ray. So it's
Yeah,
that kind of humor for sure.
absolutely. So yeah, I would watch trailers. Like if it's not your humor and that's not your thing, then you might not enjoy the show. But other than that, yeah, man, I'm fucking loving this show. I am so into it, and yeah.
For some reason, it came up over the weekend that I was talking to somebody about, and two people told me that it sucked. So,
Oh, they're wrong. They're wrong.
right, I don't know. I'm not really. I can't attest to whether or not they have good opinions on that kind of stuff because I can't. I don't have anything else to like base it off of to be like, oh well, they normally like good stuff, so maybe it's like that. I mean, it's
Right.
opinion based, but I still
Yeah.
do want to watch this show. I'm just being lazy about it, but it seems like it's right up my alley with that kind of
Yeah.
adult humor.
Mm.
Feels very Adult Swimish, but with decent animation and it's got
Yeah.
characters I like in it. So
Yeah, I would also say, like, if you're not a DC fan, maybe you won't like it as much because, like, there's a lot of like Easter eggs to like characters that are not very well known and like bits and jokes about that stuff. But for the most part, like, I think most people know who Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn and the Joker are. So like the main players you're probably familiar with, you know.
uh,
But yeah, I like the hell out of it. And real quick, the next thing that I'm binging, I'm still binging is Better Call Saul. I am trying my hardest to binge through this entire show before it ends in like 10 days or whatever. I'm
I'll watch
trying
the
to
show
get through
someday.
it. And I'm about to finish season 3 and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I really enjoy this show a lot. I didn't start at season 1 cuz I'd already watched the first season. I was like, I'm not rewatching that. I'll read the Wikipedia on the last episode and keep
From what I
going.
hear, I think that's probably the weakest season as well. So I think once the show had to find its footing before it really became the
Right.
masterpiece that it's considered today.
Right. So yeah, I'm in the middle of that and I'm trying to get through it very much in the same way I binged through Breaking Bad right before the finale, kind of caught up. So yeah, I'm doing it again.
That's what's so funny about like Breaking Bad. It was a big show that everyone talked about, but I feel like no one was watching it when it was like first coming on TV. It took like legit
Right.
3
Yeah.
years before people were like, "Oh shit, this show's dope."
Yeah.
And then everyone started binging it yeah, you guys did, and then watched the finale. And that's basically how that show was consumed by the normal human being.
Yep,
I
basically.
do want to watch it. It's surprisingly not a lot of hype around it. Even like I always hear when people talk about it, that's an amazing show, but I
Yeah.
don't hear people talk about it a whole lot. So I'm like,
Same.
I don't want to talk about this show. What's I guess the
Yeah.
Breaking Bad train kind of left.
It's
But
kinda hard to
yeah.
live in that shadow, and, like, I guess, we'll see by the end if it how it compares, but, like, it's gonna be hard to compare it to Breaking Bad just because Breaking Bad is such a good show, and it's nearly a flawless show, I would say as well. But this show is also kinda different because Saul isn't Walter White, you know? But in the sense, there are some similarities, but yeah, I check it out if you liked Breaking Bad, I think you might like this as well.
I actually have played and beaten another video game, 100% another
What?
video game.
Damn.
Game Pass has been very kind to me and allowing me to play a lot shorter games than normal and feel some success rate in actually beating games because games are far too long for the normal human
Ugh,
being to
yep.
play all 10,000 of them that exist at one time. And it's very stressful, and I hate it a whole lot. But I saw exactly 5 seconds of someone playing this game called Road 96. It came out in 2021 on Switch and PC, and then it recently came out, I think, April of this year on consoles, other consoles, not Nintendo Switch.
Hmm.
And it is an adventure game where you basically play the role of multiple teenagers in a fictional country called Petria. And you're a hitchhiker, basically trying to attempt to escape from like authoritarian regime of your country.
Oh.
It's got some feelings that
Oh,
kind
boy.
of feel pretty close to some things we've dealt with politically recently in
Uh-huh.
our country of America. There seems to be an election that is definitely rigged. That no
Oh,
matter
boy.
there's a very much a liberal Republican candidate that's referenced very often. You see a TV news cast of them all the time, and it's a choice based game. So based on your actions, things change. There's two
Oh.
interesting parts about this game is you are an unnamed character. You're just a random teenager trying to make it to the border. And you get basically multiple attempts at making it to the border. And throughout the way, you meet all these ragtag group of characters and stuff that you interact with and do things with. And it all culminates up to like September 9th, but that's the election and what's going to happen at the election. You
Gotcha.
got freedom fighter kind of people, definitely the leftist wing people and stuff like that. What's really interesting about this game as well is your story is procedurally generated. So
Oh.
there's like a cast of maybe 8 to 10 characters that you meet throughout the way, but the order that you meet them and how you meet them and what they're doing at the time is procedurally generated. So every time you go
Oh,
through this
shit.
journey, it's a little different, which I thought was a super cool thing to do. So if you want to see every single storyline of each character, which they give you a little like percentage thing at the bottom, which really I thought was super cool to see
Mm.
how many times you've seen this character. You don't have the same trip. So it's kind of interesting because like those the way those things like what you do with one teenager can help you along the way on the second teenager. Be like, oh well, I left this at this place when I went to the burger joint, and I tried to rob the dude at the
Right.
burger joint so that I can get some money so that I can take the bus, but he shot me, so now I can't go. Now my
Oh,
teenager has
shit.
died, but that safe is still open. So now if I go to the burger joint again or find myself at that burger joint, I can
You
go
can
find that money. And now I have money
ah.
for the bus, so I can go a little bit further than I did last time. Really interesting stuff like that. Game's not
That's
perfect
kinda
by
cool.
any means, but it definitely was. It's a little heavy-handed too on the allegory of that whole fascist regime kind of thing. But I had a lot of fun with this game. The characters are pretty endearing. There is one character that's the super nerd that is the lamest character on earth, and I hate him with all of my being. That trope is so fucking boring. Of the I'm 12 years old and I'm really smart because that's all he basically says to you whenever you see him. But other than that, there's a part where you do drugs. You take fucking ecstasy with this newswoman.
What?
It's a wild game, and it was actually really fun. I'm glad I played it
What?
because I love some choice based games.
Yeah, this game sounds really good. This sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's only like $20 if you are playing it on other stuff, but Game Pass, of course, has it
Right.
baked in. I don't think
What's it
it's a
called
super
again?
like heavy game. Road 96.
Road 96. Hmm.
Yeah, so it's kinda got that Route 66 vibe to it or
Right,
whatever,
right.
that kinda thing, but no, I had fun with it, and it's a pretty short. I think you can beat it all the way through the first time, maybe in, like, 5, 6 hours, similar to, like, Stray. It's a
Oh,
game that
shit.
knows what it's trying to do and doesn't stray too
Mhm.
far outside of that. You do have a
Nice.
little bit of fakeness of choice, which kind of that's one of those things that I just have to get used to when it comes to choice-based games. Not all your choices
Yeah,
actually matter. Some of it's just, like, the
right.
illusion of choice. I wish we could get better about that, but I know how incredibly difficult that is to do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Fun little game. I 100%ed it, and you can basically do it in your first playthrough. But it's always nice to do New Game Plus as well, because you unlock stuff that'll help you do even better the second time around, and also you can see different.
Have you played it a second time around?
Yeah, I played it all the way through a second time as well, which you don't even need to
Nice.
do that in order to 100% it. It's mostly
Right.
just collectibles.
How different was your experience compared to the first time?
There was some stuff that I definitely skipped through a little bit faster because I was getting repeats of stuff. I think
Okay.
just because the game's not incredibly hard once you kind of understand what it is you're doing. So like
Mhm.
you can basically like get across the border. You're like, it's not like that kind of game where it's like you can't get across the border at all your first time because you don't know anything, you stupid idiot.
Right, right.
If you're just smart about what you do, you can cross the border the first time.
Gotcha.
And you still play a different character after that. But
Oh,
yeah, it
cool.
wasn't like I had like a terrible run the first time and had no fun, and then the second time I got to have a real run. But it was kind of
Yeah.
fun to like have all those unlockables and have be like, yeah, bro, I can take the fucking bus, boy. I got money. Like I got $100 in the bank. Hell yeah, I'll pay you to help me with this shit. Whereas usually I was like sleeping on the ground the first time because I was like homeless. Like I couldn't
Right.
even afford to rent out a trailer.
Oh,
Like
shit.
it was rough
Damn.
out there. We were roughing it.
Damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
super interesting game. I've been
Yeah.
playing some really interesting games that aren't just AAA shooters
Right.
lately, and I've been having a lot of fun with those because it's been a breath of fresh air.
Absolutely. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, that you definitely piqued my interest. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah, I'll say look it up. Maybe look at a trailer or something, or even like a
Yeah.
beginning of a playthrough. It was a
Right.
fun game. I enjoyed it.
Nice. Well, that is our show, everyone. You can email us at
Woo!
thefortressof@gmail.com. Fortress spelled FOUR. Feel free to email us any questions or feedback or recommendations or anything of the sort. You also follow us on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube at the Fortress of. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cats. Rate and review us, preferably the highest rating you can. That would be the best way to do that.
Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, for the arts. Thank you, Alex, for the music. Thank you, Devin, for being here as usual. And thank you, Jackie, for helping edit the podcast every week. You can find Brian on Instagram, at least, at ITZ_, by the way. Alex at Peterson Films, Peterson spelled SEN, and Devin. You can find him somewhere in the country, because we don't know where he is.
Somewhere in middle America, doing his best.
Yeah, next week. Who knows? You'll find out.
We'll also find out.
Yeah. And yeah, happy holidays, everyone. And put a coat on. It's cold out there.
No, do not. I'm literally filming this currently naked as we speak.
I'm sweating. AC's turned off in this room. I'm starting to sweat.
And my man's about to put on a bomber jacket. He's talking about it's cold outside.
All right, everyone. We'll see you here next week in another episode of The Fortress of... Waka, waka, waka.